Greetings, denizens of the Azeroth Galaxy. Welcome back to Void and Coffee, the cozy corner where we sip coffee, dodge void zones, and pretend the monster hunting us is totally part of the plan.
Yeah, that pretending part is doing a lot of heavy lifting today, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. Because in WoW Midnight, the prey system asks one simple question. Are you hunting the monster, or did you accidentally become the quest objective?
Usually the latter, let's be real.
Right. So, if you are listening on your commute or just hanging out at your desk, grab your coffee and maybe double check your defensive cooldowns. Because today we are taking a deep dive into the absolute madness that is the new open world PvE feature coming in the Midnight expansion.
Yeah, and it's a massive shift. The outdoor zones of Azeroth are basically going through a psychological overhaul. Because historically, we've treated questing zones as pretty static environments, right?
Yeah, just fly in, do the chores, fly out.
Exactly. Yeah. But the prey system dismantles that completely. It effectively transforms the entirety of Quel'Thalas into this reactive, high-stakes survival arena. The environment actually responds to your presence now.
Let's be honest, for years, open world content has basically been a very relaxed checklist. You go to a spot, you comfortably collect your 10 bear flanks, you wave at a passing guildmate, and you leave. This new system takes that relaxed checklist and sets it on fire.
It really does. It's essentially a Nemesis-style engine.
You are not farming, you are being hunted. It is a wild engine where you are the aggressor, but you are also actively the target.
Right, because the developers want to reintroduce genuine danger to the open world. They wanted to demand the kind of strategic thinking you'd usually reserve for, like, instance content, like dungeons.
Which is wild for open world stuff.
Yeah. And a Blizzard dev actually noted that they were genuinely surprised to learn players love the thrill of being ambushed. They called the nastiest difficulty of this system a literal don't AFK mode.
A don't AFK mode. Oh, man. I love it, but I am also terrified. I mean, you can't just step away to grab a snack anymore.
No, absolutely not. If you go AFK, you will face serious consequences.
That fundamentally changes how you interact with the environment. If you are out in the woods, you aren't just clearing a map. You are watching your own back, scanning the trees, and keeping your finger hovering over your panic buttons.
Exactly. And they're deliberately moving away from just, increasing enemy health pools or shooting more bullets at you. Instead, the design rewards situational awareness.
Like not pulling the entire camp of murlocs at once.
Right. Because if you overpull a group of enemies while your prey target is tracking you, you're going to be severely punished.
But before we sharpen the blades and spill coffee on the keyboard, let's talk about how the hunt actually begins. Because it doesn't start in some shiny, heroic paladin hall, does it?
No, definitely not. It starts in the literal underbelly of Silvermoon City, Murder Row. Narratively, Murder Row is the perfect origin point.
Right.
This is the darker side of the Elven capital, the place where warlocks and rogues historically operate in the shadows. And the architect of this entire system is Magister Astalor Bloodsworn.
Okay. The Void Whisperers chase the target, sure, but Astalor is a walking red flag. I mean, this is the guy from the Burning Crusade who helped pioneer draining the light out of the Narumuru.
Yeah, to feed the Blood Knights, he's got a history.
Right. And now he is down in a basement extracting something called anguish magic, which is literally the crystallized pain of a soul, and putting it into jars. Are we absolutely sure we aren't just doing the villain's work for them?
Well, Astalor's ends justify the means ethos is a deliberate return to classic, pragmatic Blood Elf lore. He justifies it by claiming he's taking this anguish, concentrating it into these unusually resilient cosmic vessels, and using it to bolster Silvermoon's defenses against the Void.
The classic, I'm doing bad things for good reasons excuse.
Pretty much. But he provides you with access to the hunt table in his sanctum, effectively turning you into his personal extraction agent.
So you walk into his sanctum, look at this massive tactical map covering Eversong Woods, Zulamon, and Harandar, and you just pick a contract. You sign up to track elite enemies across the zones. I assume I have to drop whatever I'm doing to go hyper-focus on this target, right?
Actually, no. The system is designed to avoid pulling you out of your normal gameplay loop. Because Astalor is harvesting the chaotic energy of the zone itself, the mechanics are powered by your general activity.
Oh, nice. So I can just do my normal stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to stop doing world quests, gathering treasures, killing rares, doing your usual open world content. It all actively feeds your hunt progress and agitates the target.
Now the contract is signed, the coffee is warm, and the target knows your location. Wonderful. This is where Azeroth gets sneaky. I fly out to Zulamon, And suddenly, my screen has this massive new UI element staring back at me. The anguish crystal.
Which basically functions as a heart monitor for your impending doom.
Literally, it's so stressful.
Yeah, the anguish crystal is your primary visual communication tool here. It has 3 states. Initially, it sits at hidden, dim, and inactive. But as you complete those world quests, loot chests, and dismantle enemy traps, the crystal shifts to revealed.
And that's when things start glowing red, right?
Exactly. It starts pulsing with red energy. This indicates you've entered the danger zone. The target knows your location, and the frequency of random ambushes spikes dramatically.
And here's where it gets panic-inducing. Imagine you are fighting 3 elite mobs, you have 0 cooldowns left, your health is dipping below 20%, and suddenly your screen pulses and your prey boss just drops out of the sky on top of you.
It's brutal.
This is not a world quest, this is a warning. I mean, how are players supposed to survive that without just smashing their keyboards?
Well, here is the trap. Getting overwhelmed by the sheer sensory overload of that exact scenario. The Nemesis engine is specifically coded to trigger when you're already engaged in combat.
Of course it is. They just want us to suffer.
Basically. But the goal is not panic. The goal is controlled chaos. You do not have to defeat the prey target during an ambush. You merely have to survive and push their health down to 50%, at which point they will retreat.
Or, if you've been diligent and picked up a disarmed trap item while exploring the zone earlier, you can literally just throw it at their face and they instantly repel.
Yes. It is the ultimate not today thank you button.
And I plan on hoarding as many of those as my bags can hold, honestly.
You definitely should. Using the environment to your advantage is heavily incentivized, because when the target flees, they leave behind this thick red blood mist.
Which looks amazing, by the way.
It does, and it serves as a directional breadcrumb trail. If you follow that spectral mist and uncover their hidden echo, you can perform an action called a repost.
And do not let the progress bar fool you. The repost is basically mandatory if you value your time.
Absolutely.
The best way I can describe finding that echo is like tracking a submarine using sonar pings. You cannot see the actual boss yet, but you are following the ripples they leave behind in the environment to force them to the surface. You hit that echo, and boom, massive surge in hunt progress.
Right, and once you feed enough of that progress into the anguish crystal, it becomes fully attuned. Astalur contacts you, marks a specific coordinate on your map, and you head to their actual hideout.
And that final fight is different, right?
Yeah, that final showdown is completely phased, meaning you enter a private instance in the open world to ensure a pure combat experience without outside interference.
And because Blizzard looked at open world danger and said needs more emotional damage, now we enter the difficulty room. Because there are 3 tiers that fundamentally change the rules of engagement.
Right. Normal mode is the baseline experience. It basically scales for players actively leveling from 80 to 90.
So it's a bit more forgiving.
Yeah, it remains fully public, meaning if you get ambushed out in the world, a passing druid can absolutely drop some heals on you or help you damage the target. It's designed to be chaotic but manageable.
It is the cozy mode for when you just want to drink your coffee and not sweat too much. But at level 90, you unlock hard mode. And hard mode introduces a mechanic called Torment.
And Torment creates immense mechanical friction. On hard mode, Torment is a 2% stacking debuff that increases the damage you take as the hunt progresses.
2% stacking. Ouch.
Yeah. And you also face environmental affixes like seeping gore, which constantly drops damaging pools of blood under your feet while you are in combat. Plus, Hunter's momentum dictates that if you die in the zone, your hunt progress actively depletes.
Wait, if dying makes me lose my hunt progress, isn't that just going to encourage players to run away? Like, if I get ambushed and I am losing, my instinct is going to be to bubble hearth or sprint in the opposite direction. How does Blizzard stop this from becoming a tedious game of hide and seek?
Well, the Torment debuff prevents you from stalling. Because you are constantly taking increased damage the longer the hunt drags on, running away actively makes your eventual showdown harder. You're forced to push forward.
Now we enter the real boss room. Nightmare difficulty. This is the ultimate WoW solo content pressure cooker.
It really is. Nightmare mode strips away all your safety nets. The Torment debuff jumps to 4%, and cruelly, it takes up every 60 seconds, regardless of whether you are in combat or not.
Even out of combat, that is so mean.
It is. That 4% jump changes the entire dynamic. It actively breaks standard tanking and survival builds because you can no longer out-heal the incoming damage. You have to kill the target in under 3 minutes, turning a survival fight into a pure damage per second race.
And you lose all public help, right? You are entirely alone.
Completely alone.
The affixes on Nightmare are just pure cruelty. Like, Echo of Predation spawns a bloody spirit that stalks you across the zone, and if it touches you, you take massive damage.
It's terrifying.
It is like the hypothetical snail that follows you for $1 million. But instead of $1 million, your armor breaks and you die. But the wildest affix is Bloody Command. Astalor will whisper you and force you to instantly kill a target within a few seconds, or you suffer a lethal bleed.
Yeah, imagine frantically tabbing your keyboard to target a random passing squirrel just to stop yourself from bleeding out.
Exactly. I'd be destroying my tab key trying to find a critter.
And it demands an incredibly high fidelity level of skill expression, especially considering the recent Adonpocalypse changes.
Oh, right. The UI restrictions.
Yeah, in Midnight, Blizzard severely restricted combat modifications. So add-ons can no longer track these ambush timers or automate your reactions. You cannot rely on a giant flashing warning on your screen from a third-party app anymore.
So you actually have to pay attention to the game.
Exactly. You have to physically listen for the audio cue of Astalor's whisper to kill that squirrel. You have to watch the shadows for the echo of predation.
But pain without loot is just a bad pug. So let's talk rewards before the void steals our motivation. Because if you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, why would I ever opt into Nightmare mode if I can just comfortably farm normal?
Right, but the reward scaling is unprecedented for solo players. First, there is direct Great Vault integration. Completing Nightmare hunts contributes to your weekly world progress and can grant up to Hero Track gear.
Wait, Hero Track gear from solo content?
Yes. To put that in perspective, Hero Track gear is highly upgraded equipment, comparable to what you'd earn from high-level delves or heroic difficulty rating. You are earning top-tier power purely from open-world solo content.
Getting Hero Track gear without having to schedule a 20-person raid on a Tuesday night is massive. That is a game changer.
It really is. But beyond the item level, there is the localized economy. You earn a currency called Remnants of Anguish from these hunts. You take those back to the vendors in Astalor's Sanctum, and the cosmetics are just stunning.
Yeah, we are talking blood red transmog ensembles and a companion pet named Voldy, which is adorable.
It is. And there's also a highly coveted mana-aware mount called the Prey Seeker's Nightmare that requires you to achieve all 30 unique Nightmare kills.
Which is going to take some dedication.
Oh, it heavily appeals to the collector mentality.
Yeah.
But the most innovative reward space they have tapped into with the Prey system is player housing.
Okay, I am completely geeking out over the housing trophies. It is one thing to get a shiny new sword, but literally manting the effigy of the boss that stalked you all week in your virtual living room.
It's so cool.
If you defeat a target on hard mode, you earn a bust for your wall. If you survive Nightmare mode, you get a massive ornate effigy. Displaying the actual Nightmare effigy of Jozolo the Breaker, taking up half your room, is top-tier flex material.
It perfectly captures the aesthetic of a seasoned monster hunter. But to prevent players from burning out trying to collect all these effigies in one weekend, Blizzard implemented the Prey Seeker's Journey.
Right, the seasonal track.
Yeah, it's a tracking system with a hard weekly breakpoint to respect player time.
Because, I mean, WoW players will absolutely optimize the fun out of any system if you let them. So how does this cap actually protect us from ourselves?
Well, the first 4 hunts you complete each week grant a massive 1,000 Journey XP each. But any hunt you do after those initial 4 drops, drastically, granting only 50 XP.
Oh, wow. That is a huge drop-off.
Yeah, it's a very clear, deliberate signal from the developers.
Yeah.
Do your 4 highly lucrative, deeply engaging hunts. Secure your Great Vault slots, and then log off or go do something else. It removes the pressure of an endless daily grind.
So the real question is simple. Is the Prey system another chore, or is this the open world spice Midnight needed?
Based on how the mechanics force engagement and how the rewards validate that effort, it clearly bridges a massive gap. It sits perfectly between the triviality of traditional world quests and the strict rigidity of instanced raiding.
Yeah, it finally gives us something meaty out in the world.
Exactly, offering solo players a meaningful path to power that actually requires skill and environmental awareness.
The Prey system could make WoW Midnight's open world feel dangerous again. You are not only clearing tasks on a map, you are being watched, hunted, tested, and possibly folded like a cloth transmog in a raid finder bag.
Which leaves us with one final, deeply provocative lore implication to mull over.
Uh-oh. Lay it on me.
If Astalor is actively harvesting Anguish soul magic, which visually and functionally mimics the Ventha magic of extracting sins in the Shadowlands, and he is storing it in resilient cosmic vessels beneath Silvermoon.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if that concentrated agony falls into the hands of the Void?
Oh, man.
Right. Are we inadvertently building a massive volatile bomb for our enemies right under our own capital?
Knowing our track record in Azeroth.
Probably.
Tell us in the comments, are you starting the praise system on normal, jumping straight into nightmare, or pretending you are brave while secretly reading every guide first? Thanks for joining Void and Coffee.